As a captain, an Indian captain, to say chalta hai 12 saal mein, I don't think it's the right way to do, because it somewhere gives a message that you don't care. The transition was going to come because we saw both Rohit and Virat nicely retire at a high from T20s when India won the World Cup.
Right.
They would have been told to go or retired from T20s anyways, I feel. Because you are seeing a new crop. People are very kind to Indian captain and coaches. Nobody gets sacked.
Yeah.
There were times when one thing and captains would get sacked. These days we are very much in tune with taking care of our angels. You know, like you can be retired and still be an uncapped player and get picked.
For today's episode, we had Shantanu sir with us, who is an ex-sports media and sports journalism stalwart. With him, we had a very interesting discussion about the future of Indian Test cricket, the future of some key players like Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, even how the future of Gautam Gambhir looks as the coach of the Indian cricket team. I think this episode is going to be a must-watch for all the cricket fans out there, and I really hope that you watch the episode till the very end and stay tuned for more. And welcome to GameTime Banter, Shantanu sir. I think this is your debut on GameTime Banter. We had you on Stumps and Sixes.
Yes.
So how do you feel to be
happy to be here, and great to kind of talk to you again, Adit. And nice to make my debut on GameTime Banter.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. We'll come to this one by one.
Yes.
The first being, there was a press conference that Rohit Sharma gave after the second test.
Yes.
Where he said that 12 saal mein ek baar chalta hai.
Yes.
When he was asked about you're losing a test series at home after 12 years.
Yes.
That unbeaten streak.
Was it for after the first test match or after
the second, when they officially lost the series, basically?
Yes.
They lost the second test at Pune.
Yes.
So, in terms of, you're someone who's worked in sports media, sports journalism.
Yes.
Would you call this statement an absolute PR disaster?
See, I think Rohit Sharma is somebody, as what I have seen him in press conferences and everything, he's very cool and calm. He's not somebody who is maybe a Dhoni, how is he in press conference. Dhoni is very cheeky and very assured. You will always say Dhoni will never say anything out of context.
Right.
Or somebody like Virat Kohli, who is known to be sometimes you may get under his skin.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even talking about how Gautam Gambhir is. Okay. So So the point is that Rohit Sharma is somebody who is quite relaxed and chill about the way you've seen him as a captain also. You know, he's not somebody who many times he's been, unfortunately for him, that people think he's not serious enough, right? That this thing used to be thrown at him for a long time, that he's so talented, but he's not been able to,
but giving statements like
as a captain, I'll get to that. As a captain, I was not surprised if Rohit Sharma says it to some extent, the way his demeanor is. As a captain, an Indian captain, to say chalta hai 12 saal mein, I don't think it's the right way to do, because it somewhere gives a message that you don't care enough. Right? Is it wrong thing to do that if somebody had said it that, we've had a great record, we are going to lose some and New Zealand really outplayed us? Probably it wouldn't have been taken in that context. If you say it in Hindi like, "Arey 12 saal mein ek baar to chalta hai yaar," like, you know how Rohit Sharma talks in press conferences. He's very like chill and calm and everything. So maybe coming from him, it comes naturally that he's like, we can't win everything. It's bound to happen sometime. But the messaging somewhere, I think the tone and everything and the way he said it probably didn't come off well. More than a PR disaster, many times what happens with captains, famous people is they don't intend to put it out, but it comes out very wrong. And then it just spirals. And I don't need to talk about how things go viral these days. So maybe he could have framed it better. What he meant was, we are bound to lose some, which probably didn't come out right.
So, talking about exactly this period that he mentioned, 12 years before. So, if you talk about the last test series that we lost, which was again in 2012.
Yes.
Okay, and after that, India saw a very big transition phase.
Yes.
So they made a bold decision of removing big names like Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Zaheer Khan, who were part of the test squad.
Yes.
They were removed. They got a young squad, and in fact, they went on to beat Australia 4-0.
Yes.
So it was the BGT 2012-2013 BGT, and Australia was touring India, and they also won the Champions Trophy after that.
Yeah.
So do you think getting results like this, the one that they got with New Zealand and with the upcoming BGT, are we going to see a very big transition phase in the Indian Test cricket team?
See, I think transition was something which was coming anyways. Even if we would have beaten, say, New Zealand 3-0, for example, or 2-1, or even if we had won 1-0, or whatever the result, if we had not lost this series or even drawn it, you are looking at certain things which are obvious. That is, 4 of your players are 35 plus, and 4 very important players in Test cricket. One is Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma as batsmen, and 2 is your 2 main spinners. Now, just look at stats for these people. Ashwin has got 500 plus Test wickets. Jadeja has 300 plus. So you're looking at 800 wickets, and they're legends of Indian cricket when it comes to Test cricket, especially at home. Rohit and Virat more than 14,000 Test runs. They all are 35 plus. They're not going to be playing forever. What this result has done is accelerated the transition. You know, the transition was going to come because we saw both Rohit and Virat nicely retire at a high from T20s when India won the World Cup.
Right.
They would have been told to go or retired from T20s anyways, I feel. Because you were seeing a new crop which was coming.
Correct.
And you saw that these 2 legends actually only played the big tournaments when it came to white ball. In bilaterals, we have seen a very different white ball team all the time which India is playing. Right? So even in Test cricket, which is probably the place where you might have a place where there are older players who will get a longer rope than, say, white ball, that transition was going to come. You look at players across teams or throughout history, there are very few bowlers and batsmen who have kind of been at a good level or peaked after 36, 37. Maybe Jimmy Anderson was a anomaly. Sachin Tendulkar, when he was 37, actually had one of his best Test years. And one-day cricket also. I think he scored that double hundred in white ball at 37 and scored number of Test centuries at 37. But very few cricketers have been able to do it. So if you see all the legends, Lara, Pontings, Callises, everybody after 36, 37, you're going to go. So Virat Kohli just turned 36. Rohit is 37. I think Ashwin is 36, 37. Jadeja is 35. So you are going to see that transition. How soon that transition is going to happen, I think BGT will be a big way to kind of see, depending on will BCCI and the selectors take immediate tough decisions. I think had India won this series against New Zealand and possibly won against Australia or qualified for the Test Championship, probably some of them would have got a longer off for a year or so. But now I think it will be purely performance based. There will be a tap on the shoulder saying, okay, we want to get fresh legs in.
Right.
I don't know who is going to go first. I can't say. Maybe Rohit is last series as an Indian Test captain, or Virat will play for 1 year or whatever. Because there's this telling thing that I remember 4 or 5 years back. Everybody was talking about Virat Kohli being able to probably catch up with Sachin's Test record of
the 100 century.
100 century, but even the Test run record of 15,000 runs out.
Right.
Today he's at 9,000 runs. Okay, he's struggling to get to 10,000 Test runs, which Sunil Gavaskar, Dravid, and Tendulkar have done.
Correct.
So will he even make 10,000 Test runs is something which is a question mark. Joe Root is 3,000 runs ahead of him. So we are looking at unprecedented kind of things which were not possible 4 years back or so. So we'll have to see who lasts for how long. I think the Australia series will kind of put it out in the open, because look, maybe Kohli has 1 or 2 years of cricket left. Like if you ask any fan today, they'll say he maybe has 1 series or he'll come back. But we don't know the extent of what's going on in his mind. Has he kind of, it happens to cricketers. Look, you just lose the edge or your form just falls. I remember when Sehwag was at his peak, and then the last couple of years, his eyesight was a problem. He started wearing glasses and all. I don't know if you guys will remember that. A lot of people won't remember. But his hand-eye coordination just went, because his game was so built on that. And when he was an excellent player. But the last few years, he just kind of fell off. And the very few players like Rahul Dravid was very that way. He knew his game. So in his last series, he started getting bowled a lot, which was good. Imagine the wall getting bowled, right? So he knew that, okay, my time has come now. I need to walk away.
So that is exactly the point I was coming to of, you said a lot of times every player cannot end their career on a high.
Yes.
Especially if you're, post 35, you
Yes.
you don't have your A game out.
Yes.
So then, isn't it better for some players to probably announce themselves that they are probably out of the game or out of the sport before maybe the board takes a decision? Because there is a line in football, leave the football before the football leaves you.
Yeah.
So if you see it from that angle, of course, as you said, BGT is going to be a very
Yes.
important deciding factor for the future
Yes.
of a lot of these players.
Yes.
A similar question on similar lines here. The thing is, you mentioned about the big four of the Indian team: Virat
Yes.
Kohli, Rohit
Rohit
Sharma, Jadeja, and Ashwin. Now, obviously, you need players who your younger generation looks up to as idols in the team. That okay, these players are the ones I look up to, and I have them as role models.
Yes.
But is it becoming that the Indian team is over-reliant on performances by these big four? Or their individual heroics maybe to lead us to
See,
the win?
if you have a team of 11 where you have people who have really done well for you, who are your main stars. See, remember one thing, a team would have, out of 11, have probably 3-4 match winners who on that day can just kind of win you the match single-handedly. Even though
Right.
cricket is like a team game where you need all 11 people to perform.
Hmm.
But you don't have so many match winners. Not every team can, have that luxury or legacy of having that. But these 4 players are those, if you look at it. And I would like to add probably a Rishabh Pant to it now, who's your
Maybe
future person who's going to be doing that.
Yeah.
You right? So Virat Kohli on his day and he had many of those days in the past, single-handedly has won you test matches, has won you white ball games, we all know that.
Correct.
Similarly, Jadeja and Ashwin by their bowling, if you remember, by the way, Jadeja did take 10 wickets in this
Yeah, he
series. So he is probably still there, right? At home, there is no greater left-arm spinner like him. I know Akshar Patel is waiting in the wings somewhere, but you can't compare the two,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
So you are dependent on your stars to win you test matches. You need to take 20 wickets, you need to score a lot of runs. Now, is there an alternative to quickly kind of replace these people? Look, if there were alternatives, and this is something of a discussion I was having with somebody, is that Virat Kohli's test career in the last 4 years. Just look at pre-pandemic and now. Especially, I think his great years were about 16, 17, 18,
Around
where he
that
had
period, yeah.
he just hit a purple patch in test cricket. He was scoring test centuries like nobody's business. That's when people started saying, okay, maybe Tendulkar's record is under threat.
Right.
But after that, he scored only 2 centuries.
He has 2 centuries in the last 5 years.
Exactly. So the point is that you don't have many options. Who's been there to come and knock on the door and say, okay, I will replace a Virat Kohli? Even people like KL Rahul have been there for 10 years, have not been able to perform at the level that he is. So if you replace him at number 4, who is your number 4 tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow if he retires or the selectors ease him out, they will have to develop somebody. Somebody will fill his shoes.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? But even people in the past like a Rahane or Pujara was your number 3, right? But Rahane probably could have done that. But his form after that Border-Gavaskar trophy, he scored at 100 as captain when Virat had to go back, has been nothing to write off. Kohli has actually, performed probably better, maybe slightly. And one more thing which we forget, especially in Indian cricket, is it's not very easy to elbow out stars, right?
Is that because of the media?
I don't think.
Come to that. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I don't think it's the media. I think it's a culture that we have. Is not to be, not to create controversy when there's none. But it's difficult for us to fathom that. That's why many Indian players, if you look through history, never leave on a high.
Yeah.
I'll give you some examples. Kapil Dev was chasing Richard Hadley's record of 434 wickets in Test cricket, which was the record that time in the 90s.
Right. Yeah.
He gets his 400th wicket in the 91-92 series against Australia. Okay. He retires in 94, 3 years later, when he gets when he beats the record. 431 was the record, he gets 400. So he took 3 years to take 30 wickets. Sachin Tendulkar, another big legend of the game, my favorite even today, scored his 99th 100 in 2011 in the World Cup. Scored his 100th 100 in 2013. He was chasing that record. Now, should he have left at 99? See, I'm not the person to, I'm nobody to say that, right? It's his individual choice, the team, the selectors, the BCCI, etc. They make decisions.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that legends are someone who should be pushed out just because they're this. You can't just sack a Virat Kohli suddenly after one series. It's not right, because there are two aspects to it. One is that legend can come good and suddenly win you the series.
Yeah.
You can have, if suddenly tomorrow Virat Kohli scores 3 centuries in Australia, which he has done reasonably well in Australia whenever he's played, he scored centuries. Then you're winning that series, maybe have an outside chance of qualifying for the World Test Championship.
Right.
Then are you going to tell him, okay, now retire? Or this was an anomaly, like get lost or whatever? So my point is that it's very difficult to tell legends to go away, especially in Indian context, because we are emotional people. Yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
We don't purely look at performance. Any other country, I've seen so many ways, so many examples in the past, be it a Ponting, be it a Steve Waugh, be it so many people. Like Shane Warne went in 2006, and for the longest time he kept this debate alive that, oh, they didn't have a great spinner because of such a big void. So they used to say that he used to purposely tease them by saying, I'll come back. So that people keep wanting you.
Right.
Like, it's more like why than why not. So in Indian cricket, unfortunately, it's very difficult to take tough decisions like that. Like, what would have been a tough decision? Like, many people said this, that we had selected this team of BGT much before the series got over also.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe after, if we had not selected later, a lot of these cricketers wouldn't have got picked. So it's not easy. See, you can't just tell a Kohli to go or sack a Rohit Sharma as captain. What's your alternative? Are you going to make Bumrah captain of India in Test cricket?
I think that is what's going to happen.
Are you going to make Rishabh Pant captain of this? And then what? Are you going to send a full fresh team with all youngsters who've never played in Australia that much? Remember that a lot of this Indian team, which is the new players, don't have a lot of experience. And Test cricket, you need experience. So it's not a simple answer. Yes, I would love to wake up and say, okay, sabko nikal do. Right? That is a easy way to do it. It's an angry fan reaction.
Yeah.
Maybe it's legit sometimes. But
so another point that I want to come to, and some news that was doing the rounds after the New Zealand series was around Gautam Gambhir.
Yes.
So his appointment as coach, and then of course you had a bunch of stats that kind of came out that all of these things have happened after Gambhir was announced as coach.
Yeah.
But I feel two major points, and that was of course India losing the bilateral series
to Sri Lanka. Yes.
And then of course this 3-0 whitewash against New Zealand. So there was a lot of talk about whether Gambhir needs to be sacked from his position.
Yes.
Now I kind of want to draw parallels to football here. I'll tell you why. So basically, in football, it is generally said that the role a manager plays or a coach plays for a team is very critical.
Yes.
He can really change the face of the game within the 90 minutes that the team is playing by making substitutions or having in-game tactics.
Yes.
But when you talk about cricket, that is actually very different.
Yes.
You have a coach, okay, he does the homework for you, he does your preparation, but when you are on the field, it is generally the captain who takes the reins, and he's responsible for guiding the entire team. So when you have such a series defeat coming in, is it fair to say that Gambhir gets to take the blame for such a defeat?
I don't think so, because it's a collective thing. I think the captain gets to take much more. Because unlike football or many team sports, cricket is the only sport where the captain is the whole and soul on the field. The coach may be involved in probably some selection decisions and obviously behind the scenes strategy and certain things.
Right.
But the captain is pretty much the captain of the ship, right, on the field. All your bowling changes, many times what team you want to play with, batting order, etc., leading from the front. And cricket is a game of many variables, unlike maybe football. The pitch makes such a big difference. The ball makes such a big difference. Different days in a test cricket make such a difference.
Right.
So, which is unlike football, which is a 90-minute game. Some substitutions are made, team sheet, and it's done. Test cricket is one in which if you are a bad team, it's unlikely you will win that game. T20, you can be a bad or a poor team and you can win on your day because something goes crazy. Right. Like Rinku Singh can come and hit 5 sixes and you may need 30 or 1 over and you'll still lose.
Yeah.
Right? But in Test cricket, that won't happen. If India was a second-class team against New Zealand, that's why they lost. How much of it goes to, I think Rohit Sharma gets bigger of the blame, but Gambhir also gets the blame because he's the coach. Now, yes, since he's taken over, things have really not done, India's not done well.
Yeah.
Let me give you a counter to this. When Rahul Dravid was coach, India did lose quite a bit. They did not win a single ICC tournament. Had we not won the T20 World Cup, it was all on Rahul Dravid. Okay?
Right.
Considering he is this great cricketer, legend, was a legend at the NCA, under-19 coach, etc., etc., great at spotting talent, everything. Much in terms of pedigree, much bigger than Gambhir.
Yeah.
Gambhir largely got the role because he'd done well at KKR and he'd come back and all those things. Now, I don't know what his coaching style is, to be very frank. Judging him so quickly will be not good. We are not in the football mode where even if you come second, the coach gets sacked in the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
Or if you lose a Champions League final, also you get sacked.
Right.
That won't happen in cricket. Now, was Ravi Shastri a greater coach? But then maybe Virat Kohli was a greater test captain, right? Under him, we started winning a lot of test matches because his way of wanting to win test cricket was different. Can Virat Kohli be a test captain now? I don't think so. Probably he needs to concentrate on his batting. I think he'll completely go bust today if he's got dual responsibilities.
The debate had become that was Virat Kohli and Shastri
Yeah.
versus the era
Yes.
now with Rohit Sharma.
See, you also have to look at certain things as to what went right that time. And maybe Shastri as a cricketing brain or his attitude towards the team or players may be very different. I don't know if Gambhir is somebody probably interfering in players, or how is he probably with, say, Rishabh Pant? How is he with a Gill? How is he with a Virat? How is he with a Rohit? Right? Is he somebody who is very hands-on? I have seen over the years, Indian cricket has done well when coaches have been a little hands-off. Even if you look at people talk about, at that time I remember when India won the 2011 World Cup, people gave Gary Custon a lot of credit and he was great. Yes, tactically he was great. But foreign coaches have always been a little hands-off because Indian cricketers or the Indian team, you know what happened when Greg Chappell was there.
Yeah.
They don't like too much of nitpicking and poking your nose because there are stars, right? You can't tell tomorrow, you can't go and tell a Rohit Sharma that you're making this mistake. You can't hit this shot this way. He may not take it too kindly, even if you are a legend yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So it is a little different and difficult in Indian cricket, where how do you kind of assign blame to a coach? Now, we need to give it some time. Yes, as any profession, if your team is not performing, maybe after BGT, say if India loses 5-0 or 4-0, I think the coach needs to take a lot of the blame. So does the captain at the time. And the good thing to do is to resign, because if you not be able to do it, let somebody else take it. Or if there is nobody available, then say, okay, I'll do this, but I'll only do this for this. Because look, there has to be blame. Whenever there is failure, blame has to be assigned to somebody. That's how the world works.
Right.
You can't just keep failing and saying, no, you still be captain, you still be coach. You have to, somebody needs to take the fall. So I think that is how it should be. In the past, there have been cases. I think these days, people are very kind to Indian captain and coaches. Nobody gets sacked.
Yeah.
There were times when one thing and captains would get sacked. These days, we are very much in tune with taking care of our angels. You know, like you can be retired and still be an uncapped player and get picked to play. I'm not taking names, but
You
I'm
can
just
take
saying.
names, yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's because there is legacy, and see, that is in IPL. I'm not even comparing.
Yeah.
You can't compare apples to oranges. But I don't think this will happen in any other sport, right? So maybe happening, but then you need to pay in the Saudi league or something. I don't know.
But do you, the point you rightly mentioned about, do you think BGT will be the deciding factor for?
I think for Test cricket, for Indian Test cricket, I think it's a big test. The problem is Indians are playing under a lot of pressure. That is, your legends will be playing. I think Rishabh will play the way he is.
Yeah.
Maybe the rest of the younger players will play the way they are, because they know that if they're going to drop them, anyway the older players are in the sticky wicket, literally.
Right.
So who will they pick? Because we don't have great performances from domestic cricket where they're knocking. Yes, Sarfaraz was there, but after that one innings, he was found out really badly. It was not that he got great deliveries which he couldn't play.
Yeah.
His technique was exposed. He just couldn't bat. Right? Maybe at times Jadeja batted better than him. Or
That was very surprising actually, because Sarfaraz was brought on as a player who could play spin well. And then he ended up hitting a full toss to Ajaz and getting.
So that's what I'm saying, that the fact that you can't judge domestic performances to a higher level, yes, if you are scoring consistently, you deserve to be in the team, because how else do you select someone? How do you give somebody a chance?
Parameter be?
I think domestic cricket should be a parameter, but you can't say that, okay, because this guy scored 1500 runs in domestic cricket, I'm surprised how he got out of Ajaz Patel. Is your domestic structure at a level where you are playing the best spinners, right? And what is happening? Why are they not playing better? You have to think. There has to be some introspection, because otherwise we were at the cusp of a disaster. This New Zealand just came and gave us a nudge. If we would have won, actually, you are delaying the inevitable. Had India won the series.
Right.
Now, actually, the BGT gives you a great chance to, it's now or never, perform or perish. Doesn't happen. I think if you can take tough decisions, or if players have the guts to say, okay, I'm not going to play, or I'm going to retire after this because I've just lost the edge. The question Virat Kohli needs to ask, if he fails in BGT, does he want to continue because BCCI won't sack him, and he'll just continue playing because there is no alternative, and I want to play because I'm Virat Kohli? Similarly for, say, Rohit Sharma.
Right.
Will he continue being captain of the test team? Because you need to have new leadership, right? Why do you want to continue with a old horse when possibly you give captaincy to a new horse, a young horse who can possibly lead you for the next 10 years?
Right.
Is what future thinking is very important.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Shantanu sir.
Thank you. I hope it was a lot of valuable points that you got.
Of course. No, it was a pleasure hosting you today, and I hope that you'll be there again soon someday.
Probably let's do this again after the BGT.
Oh, definitely.
And then we can
hold you to your word then.
You started this podcast with a prediction, you can start that podcast with another prediction.
Definitely, that would be fun.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. We hope you've enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.